Today's topic is emergency maneuvers. It's important to talk about emergency maneuvers to get you thinking about how you'd handle your vehicle in an emergency situation. We're going to talk about the theory of evasive steering. So, a tractor trailer combination can generally be turned more quickly than it can be stopped. So, if an escape path is available, evasive steering provides a better chance of avoiding a collision than attempting to stop. Constantly scanning for hazards, adequate following distance, and good driver and vehicle preparation are key. The two most common escape routes from an accident are another traffic lane and the road shoulder. If a lane is available, a quick lane change would be the best escape route. If a lane change is impossible or dangerous, the shoulder of the road provides an alternative in some circumstances and should not be eliminated from the driver's options. Evasive steering, when handled properly, is generally safe. The safest conditions for evasive steering are when the vehicle's cargo is stable with a low center of gravity and there is firm footing, such as an adjacent lane of highway or paved shoulder. Some general procedures for performing an evasive steering maneuver. You'll want to minimize the amount of turning necessary. So start evasive steering as early as possible. Start as soon as an emergency is seen. The earlier an evasive maneuver starts, the smaller the amount of turn necessary. You'll want to turn only as much as is needed. Avoid oversteering. The larger the turn, the greater the chance of a jackknife or rollover. Turn as quickly as possible. Use hand over hand steering. Each turn of the wheel should be approximately 180 degrees. This is the best reason for driving with hands in a 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock position. This position allows turning of the wheel 180 degrees without letting go. You want to avoid braking while turning. Braking could cause the tractor and trailer wheels to lock up. Locked wheels during turning could easily result in a loss of control. Brake before turning. A firm braking application reduces the vehicle's, and this allows the vehicle to be turned more sharply and reduces the chance of a jackknife rollover. Be prepared to countersteer quickly. Countersteering is an act of turning back toward the original path of travel. Smooth, quick countersteering is required to keep the vehicle from going outside of its escape path and off the shoulder or into traffic. Depending on the length of the trailer, begin the countersteering as soon as the front clears the obstacle. At this point, the importance of wearing a seatbelt is magnified. It's difficult to turn the steering wheel quickly unless the driver is firmly planted on the seat. A quick turn might otherwise cause the driver to slide or even eject out of the seat. Loss of control becomes likely, a secondary collision almost certain. No seatbelt means the driver is hanging onto the steering wheel and is not able to use it to control the vehicle. The details of how an evasive maneuver is performed depend upon specific situations. Certain procedures are needed for emergencies involving oncoming vehicles, stopped vehicles, and merging vehicles. For oncoming vehicles, evade an oncoming vehicle by steering to the right. Sound the horn to get the oncoming driver's attention. The oncoming driver will tend to turn to his right. Don't steer to the left. Entering to the left lane will probably cause a collision to occur in that lane. Leaving the road is preferable to a head-on collision. For stopped vehicles, if the left lane is clear, turn left into that lane. Swerving right creates the chance of sideswiping a vehicle alongside. The height of the cab should allow the driver to see if the left lane is clear. Be aware of what is next to the vehicle. Check your mirrors. If the driver is next to a clear shoulder, he or she has the alternative of going right should the left lane be blocked. If the driver is in the middle lane or of a multiple lane road, the obvious choice must be to steer into whichever lane presents the least danger. Otherwise, evade to the right. Better to force a vehicle there to the shoulder than to force another vehicle into an oncoming traffic lane. And with merging vehicles, sound your horn. This generally gets the other driver's attention and hopefully makes him stop to correct his action. This can minimize the amount of evasive steering necessary. Proper use of the horn might prevent many accidents that occur. The sounding of the horn may frighten or annoy the other driver, but better that than have a collision. Swerve away from the converging vehicle. Don't try to steer behind it. If the other vehicle stops, a right angle collision will result. On the other hand, the driver shouldn't steer away from the converging vehicle if it puts his or her vehicle in the path of oncoming traffic. It's better to collide at an angle with a merging vehicle than to swerve into the path of an oncoming one. Let's talk about emergency braking. Over application of the brakes will lock up the wheels, causing the vehicle to skid and possibly jackknife. Either of two emergency braking procedures can be used, controlled braking or stab braking. In controlled braking, the driver maintains a steady pressure on the brakes, applying them to just short of lockup. With stab braking, one or more or less level ground, with stab braking on more or less level ground, begin by applying the brake fully. Then release the brake partially when the wheels lock. Applying the brake achieves maximum braking and releasing, or backing off the brake avoids a skid. When the wheels start to roll again, reapply the brake. Make sure time is allowed for the wheels to roll again between each stab, because reapplying too quickly will cause a skid. Repeat the stab braking sequence until the vehicle has slowed enough for a safe stop or turn maneuver. Now we can talk about off-road recovery. So in many emergencies, the roadside will provide the best escape path. As previously stated, use the roadside, which is better than colliding with another vehicle. Successful off-road recovery requires leaving the roadway immediately. Too often, drivers fear leaving the roadway and act too late. Most accidents making use of off-road recovery are due to incorrect technique. Off-road recovery is generally safe when the roadside is wide enough to accommodate a vehicle and firm enough to support a vehicle. To perform a successful off-road recovery, brake before turning and reduce your speed as much as possible. Use controlled or stab braking to prevent loss of control. Avoid braking while turning because the vehicle is more likely to skid during braking. You'll want to minimize turning. Keep one set of wheels on the pavement if possible. This will aid traction and help you maintain control. You will want to maintain as straight a course as possible. Stay on the road until the vehicle comes to a complete stop. Apply the brakes only after speed has been reduced. When the situation has passed, signal and check mirrors before returning to the travel lane. Sometimes the roadside will be blocked by a parked vehicle, telephone pole, sign, bridge, or other obstruction, and the driver will need to return to the roadway more quickly. If this happens, allow the vehicle to slow as much as possible before returning to the road. Then turn the wheel sharply toward the roadway. Attempting a gradual return to the road is hazardous and can cause the driver to lose control suddenly. Turning sharply allows the driver to determine the point of return. Upon returning to the roadway, countersteer. Turn quickly in the direction of the roadway. Turn as soon as the right wheels ride up on the surface. Both turning back onto the roadway and countersteering should be executed as a single integrated steering maneuver. Often, if a truck is driving too close to the edge of a roadway, the wheels will drop off the pavement. If this happens, avoid immediate return to the roadway. The driver can maintain control easily with two wheels on the pavement. A quick return has caused many vehicles to overturn or veer across the roadway. When the vehicle's wheels drop off the pavement, follow the same procedure as for off-road recovery. We are now going to discuss brake failures. A well-maintained brake system rarely fails completely. Despite this, however, brake failures do occur. If the driver keeps cool when the brakes fail, his vehicle can generally be brought back under control. The following procedures should be followed when brakes fail. First of all, you'll want to downshift. On a relatively flat road, putting the vehicle into a lower gear will help to slow it down. Continue to downshift until the vehicle has slowed to a point that the parking brake can be applied. Do not try to downshift on a downgrade. You'll want to find an escape route. While slowing the vehicle, look for an escape route, an open field, side street, or escape ramp. Turning uphill is a good way to slow or stop the vehicle. Make sure the vehicle does not start rolling backward after stopping though. Put it in a low gear, apply the parking brake, and if necessary, roll back into some obstacle that will stop the vehicle. If the brakes fail on a downgrade, the driver must look for something outside the vehicle to help slow and stop the vehicle. One option is the use of an escape ramp. Other options include the use of a side road or an open field that turns uphill. Let's talk about tire blowouts. The blowout of a front tire disrupts steering and can cause the vehicle to veer in the direction of the blowout. With a rear tractor tire blowout, the driver may feel the rear of the tractor slide from side to side. A trailer tire blowout can't be felt, only seen. The driver might only notice a trailer tire blowout through his or her mirrors or the signals of other drivers. The major signs of tire failure are sound, vibration, and feel. The loud bang of a blowout is an easily recognized sign. Anytime the driver hears a tire blow, he or she would be safest to assume it was his or hers. If the vehicle thumps or vibrates heavily, it may be a sign that one of the tires has gone flat. With a rear tire, that could be the only sign. If the steering feels heavy, it's probably a sign that one of the front tires has failed. Sometimes failure of a rear tire will cause the vehicle to slide back and forth or fishtail. There are 5 important things that safe drivers do to handle a tire failure safely. First, you'll want to be aware that a tire has failed. Accelerate to overcome drag and hold the steering wheel firmly. You'll want to stay off the brake and after stopping, check all your tires. If a front tire fails, it can twist the steering wheel out of the driver's hand. The only way to prevent this is to keep a firm grip on the steering wheel with both hands at all times. It's natural to want to brake in an emergency. However, braking when a tire has failed could cause loss of control. Unless the driver is about to run into something, he or she should stay off the brake until the vehicle has slowed down. Then brake very gently, pull off the road, and stop.